Good evening and welcome. You guys are joining me at Sales with Ease. And some of you are in the background on your phones. If you can do me a favor and just hit *6 to mute yourself. We're trying to do this from across the pond from Scotland and also from the United States. And so we're kind of working from lots of different places and also in Canada. So if you can do me a favor and just *6 if you're on the telephone, and that will mute you. I think if you're calling in or you're working with us um, from the audio from what's online, we should be able to have you no problem. And so I had everybody here for a second. I just lost you. Give me 1 second. Sorry if you're seeing my screen. It's looking a little funky. You're seeing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But we've got quite a few people here tonight. And like I said, Ann and I work in different ways. Oh, and Manjot just arrived. Hi, Manjot. Nice to see you. So thank you. And yeah, so let me just get started here. Tonight, I would like to be able to connect with you via chat. And this is a new software for us. So you're going to see what we have on the PowerPoint. You're going to see on my screen. And then hopefully, if you are coming into the meeting from GoToMeeting, you'll be able to chat and send me questions as we're going along. So as you have questions, do me a favor and just connect with me, know what's happening. Hopefully at this point you're seeing my screen, seeing a little bit of background stuff just because every time I hit the slideshow I'm losing my GoToMeeting bar, and I want to be able to connect with you and see your questions as well. So hopefully that'll be able to stay on. Otherwise, I've got to pop on and off and try to figure it out. So we created this video for you, or this training for you, just because I have so many friends and so many clients that each year in July, as soon as the summer hits, I hear the same thing again and again. I hear the money starts flowing, they get distracted, there's so many things going on. And really what I want to do is work with you on what's the key element that keeps you on track. What's the piece that keeps you flowing, keeps things happening for you with ease and grace, and how do I help you stay in the cash flow even when it gets to be time to party, when it's summertime. So if you're a person who started your business because you were excited about what you could offer, you wanted to help people, you knew you were onto something, and then all of a sudden the business wasn't really what you thought it would be. Things start slowing down, you start feeling like there's just not enough hours in the day, you're not making the money you'd hoped for, and all of a sudden it feels a little isolated. You've got this great idea, you've got this plan to help a lot of others, but you're feeling really alone. You're really in the right place tonight because we have an amazing community of people like yourself who want to make a difference in the world, that really care, and at the same time, how do we know how to do this? None of us are born coming out of the womb knowing how to do sales, knowing how to be excellent at making money. It takes time and it takes training. So I really appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with me tonight. And just let's look at, I'm saying tonight just because I'm in Scotland and it's late here. Let's take some time tonight to really look at what is it that you need in your own business, how can I help you, and how can we move you forward. So with the sales process, so we get a little in here, a little technical difficulty. There's a place where when you're on track, when you're having your sales happen with ease and grace, it's a happy time, right? So if you're online with me and you're seeing this beautiful baby's face, you know that there's a place when it feels really tough, and there's a place when it feels really effortless and easy. And sales with ease is something that I created not because I thought that it's the end-all be-all, but I wanted to come up with a place where I could really meet you where you were. So if you're struggling financially, 9 times out of 10 is because you're not having the sales conversations. The idea is, how do we get you connected? How do we get you in that flow? Because when you're on target, when you're serving the people you're here to serve, you know it and they know it and everybody's winning. And unfortunately, life is full. Let me say fortunately or unfortunately. Unfortunately, it's easy to be distracted. There's just too many moving pieces, and we're juggling too many balls, and it's difficult. It's difficult when we are trying to put out fires to be in a creative space. It's hard to be in service. It's hard to really be that person you came here to be, which is the person to make a difference in the lives of others. So really, when we're distracted, what we want to do is come back to the core, come back to the steps that really matter. And the Sales with Ease formula is something that my husband and I really set down. Scott's been in sales since he was a little kid. I've been in sales since I was in my early 30s, heavily. In all of my businesses, I was in sales, and in all of your businesses, you're in sales. But it's one of those things that becomes a mystery just because we don't know how to handle it. And what we wanted to do is reduce it to the ridiculous, make it super easy, make it super fun, and give you the tools that you need so that when you get into the sales conversation, not only is it easy, but it's effective, right? Because when you want to make a difference for others, it's hard to do so when you're not making the money that you want to make, right? So when you're not making money, it's almost impossible to be creative. And when your bottom line is suffering, you start dropping balls, right? Things aren't getting done. You feel like you're always in putting out fire mode. Your health may not be where you want it. Your relationships cannot be as thriving as you want. And more importantly, your purpose, why you're here, what you're here to do, it's tough to do that when you're struggling financially. So I'd like to support you in getting the sales process handled. It's one of the many pieces you need to focus on as an entrepreneur, but it's the most important piece that brings in the cash flow. So what I'd like to ask you is, what part of the sales process do you dread? What part of the sales process is difficult for you, and how can I support you in getting that handled and getting it, working for you? So for a lot of us, the first challenge is in asking for the money. Is it that place where you feel icky when the money conversation comes up? Is that place where you feel like, oh, they're not going to like me? Is that place where you feel like it's not about the money? I mean, I know for years I was running around saying, I want to support people. I want to support my entrepreneurs. I want to support the people that honor me with their time and their energy. And it's not about the money. But here's the piece, guys. If we don't have the money handled, it's really hard to do the other pieces. So I want you to ask yourself a question. Is there anything that you've ever been really excited about and worked hard to earn your place there and then invested heavily and you highly valued? Most of the things that we work hard for, the things that we really love, the things that we put ourselves on the line for, we've made the investment. So when somebody is coming to you, we're going to talk a lot about the psychology, but somebody's coming to you and looking for a service, and you have an opportunity to help them and make a difference, the money is actually the easy part. I know when I say that the money is the easy part, a lot of times people say, oh yeah, Laura, that's easy for you. Trust me, I didn't grow up with money. It's not something that I, again, came out of the womb knowing how to do, but I do know that when we get money out of the way, when we get money handled, we're really free to make a difference for others. Now, a lot of people get to the sales process and they hate explaining the product. Let me just say this to you. All the great sales that I've ever experienced, let me just say all the great things in life I've ever experienced, have come to me without a lot of explanation, without a lot of details. So explaining the product, I'm going to explain to you tonight in the Sales with Ease process exactly how to present your product, where to present your product, when to present your product, and I'm so excited you have about how it works in your own industry, because when you share and you ask the questions, I can answer those for you, and they help a lot of other people who are listening to the call. So explaining the product is one of the places where people get stuck, and it's actually, again, not the place to go too deep. Really, people will ask for what they need. What you need to do is stay in the emotion. And a lot of times that gets difficult for us because we're afraid somehow somebody's not going to like us and we're facing rejection. The whole process of sales is not about us. Sales is about service. Everybody who's on this call who's an entrepreneur, who has their own business, is only having the blessing of having that experience because you're providing a solution to a problem. So think about it. Everything that you own, everything that you experience, every product, service that you and I purchase as consumers has to happen as a solution to a problem. There's something that we have that's not working, and we look for a solution. And in finding that solution, we're happy to invest in it. But it's simply an energy exchange. So as I go through the process tonight for you, I want you to keep it simple. Just, again, I'm not trying to gloss over this. This is actually, I realize this is actually part one of a two-part training. I'm going to give you some deeper training on how to build highly effective relationships in a short period of time, and you'll see how to implement it a whole new way when I have another training in a few weeks. But I'm going to give you some homework tonight, some things to try. And the first thing is to really understand is that you're in sales, I'm in sales, you know, Colonel Sanders is in sales, Martha Stewart was in sales, Oprah Winfrey's in sales. Sales is simply, again, providing a service, providing a solution to a problem, just adding value to somebody else's life. And when you actually start recognizing that your opportunity, your job is to be a value provider, the better you get, the easier your life becomes, because it's not about you, right? I mean, we tend to make it about ourselves. We tend to talk about what we've done and what the solution to the problem is. A lot of times in the sales process, we get to the caboose before we're at the train, right? We're sitting there telling people what we can do for them and how we can help them, and it's too soon. It's not what they actually need to hear. So just understand that, again, sales is service, and the better you get at it, the easier life becomes. So I'm sharing with you, chances are if you've been on this, some of you have been with me for a while and you've heard me speak before, and you've probably seen this picture of me dressed as a wench. When I was 23, it was my first business, and some of you are new to our world, so welcome. And, you know, how do I know about sales, or how do I know about business? So I married into a family business when I was 23, which is now, help me do the math, almost 26 years ago. And here's a picture of me dressed as a wench. Our first business was Medieval Inn. And from that business, we grew to own 3 restaurants, moved to Arizona to raise our family, opened up a real estate company, started with real estate sales, got into real estate development, got into real estate investing, opened up a tanning salon, opened up a winery, opened up more retail stores, had lots of different diversified businesses. And what I can tell you is that it's not that my life is so fascinating, but what I want to share with you is that all the businesses that I've owned and all the people that I've had the privilege of serving and helping with their businesses all have been in the same game. And the same game is all about how do we provide a service, how do we provide a solution to a problem. So the more you can stay in the service aspect, the more you can make it about the person that you're here to serve, the easier sales becomes. And guess what happens? When you provide a solution to a problem, the money flows. So if you're on this call because you're looking for a way to get out of struggle financially, I really want to encourage you to stay with me, stay focused. There's nothing for sale on this call. This call is really a service. I'm in Scotland right now on vacation with my husband. I came to Ireland 2 weeks ago with a group of girlfriends to do some deep state spiritual work and to look at, you know, where I could deepen my service as a leader. And I know that's just kind of a brain fart, and forgive me for going there, but what I want to say to you is that when I travel the world, what I see is that we're so much more alike than we are different. So regardless of where you are tonight, regardless of where your experience is having you in the world, a lot of us are having the same experience. We're having the same hopes and dreams. We're having the same ideals of what we want to create for ourselves. And, you know, sometimes we get stuck, and that's okay. So when you're looking at, you know, how do I get my money handled? How do I move forward? I want you to ask yourself, what's your bigger why? Why are you doing the work that you do? What is it you hope to achieve? For me, the greatest benefit of being a business owner has been having time freedom, having financial freedom, having the ability to be with people I love, spending time with my children, spending time with my husband, and really experiencing the world in a way that I never as a child grew up thinking would even be an option, right? I didn't expect that I would be riding elephants in Thailand with my son, or taking my daughter on a cruise to Mexico, or being on a glacier in Alaska, or on the flip side, being on the other side of the world and being in Africa. You know, there's a lot to be said for being financially independent. And what's more important in our world, because I know that if you're on this call, if you're listening to this recording, that you're a person who has a calling of your own for a deeper service, for a bigger value to add to the world. So it starts small, and it becomes the same game or zero. Whatever we're doing everywhere. And when you find that you can get your stuff handled, if you will, around money, around your business, around handling the things that are important to you, it allows you to have the freedom to really not only experience what you want, but also to be able to help others in a much greater way. So the secret to success, in my experience, and I've had at this point 9 companies over the last 26 years, is all about. And systems are not sexy. I've been trying to make them sexy since I stepped into this role of leadership here. But I find that, most of my entrepreneurs are visionaries. They're big idea thinkers. They're big, expansive people, and they don't want to deal with the details. And if you can do what I call the short herd, if you can kind of reel it in and get some systems in place one time, then you have the freedom to do a whole lot more as you move forward. You have the freedom to have success, to spend time with people you love, to be on vacation. I mean, I literally just jumped out of the bathtub. Forgive me if you can see my screen. But, have the freedom to say, hey, this is important, and I want to take time to actually work with the people that I care about, and be able to do that in a place where it's easy and effortless for you. Systems are really the key to making that happen. So the next thing I want you to look at is, as we're talking about the sales conversation, and we're going to try to keep this short and sweet, and I'm going to tell you at the end of this call how you and I can have a one-on-one strategy session if that's important to you. If you think that what you're hearing tonight might be helpful for you, and you might still be stuck, I'm going to go ahead and answer questions on chat. I have a couple of people that have already started to ask questions, but just give me a couple of minutes to go through the systems of what we have with Sales with Ease. I'm happy to answer questions that I can tonight. And more importantly, if you'd like to have a one-on-one telephone conversation with me, I'd love to be able to do that with you. Sometimes we just need somebody from the outside to look at. And it can be a really simple thing that we just can't see ourselves, right? My friend Tracy Trottenberg always says we can't see our own eyebrows. I've heard it say, you can't see the picture frame because you're inside the picture, right? Here's a piece. You guys have to get clear and focused on what's generating revenue in your company. And if you're not clear on what are the skills or what are the activities that are actually generating marketing and sales revenue, then the money's not flowing. This is what I call my golden triangle. So usually marketing leads to sales, and that, those two things together bring revenue to your company. But a lot of times we don't know what exactly that looks like. So I'm going to talk to you tonight a little bit about what's a sales conversation, how do you get into one, and when you do, what are the steps to take, and most importantly, what not to do, because that's what I see all too often is folks are super excited, they want to be in service, and they get into the conversation, and then it starts to go sideways. And there's nothing worse than feeling like you've got that ideal client in front of you, and unfortunately, you just didn't have the tools. So we're going to talk about the tools, but I want you to just really look at when you're spending your time on the things that you think are making you money, like Facebook chatting. Is that really, really driving your ideal client into your funnel? Is that actually generating revenue for your company? Most times the answer is no. So what we're going to be looking at is what are the effective marketing things that you can be doing? What's the sales conversation that actually results in cash flow and helps you move the needle in your own business? We're going to do a whole training this October called The Path to Freedom. And what I've learned over the last 26 years now is in having all these different companies is that there's a really sweet spot for us as entrepreneurs where we go into business, we love what we're doing, but then we get a little overwhelmed. We get caught up in the day-to-day, we get caught up in the minutiae, and sometimes it gets us out of freedom, right? We get into the wrong direction. So I want to give you kind of the steps to do to get sales happening for you. If you are looking at a long-term vision for your business, there's really what I call the path to freedom, which is either your business is autonomous and it runs without you and just brings in revenue, or you decide you want to sell your business. Now I've sold 6 of my 9 companies, and that's, it's not that big of a deal in some respects in that I knew early on how to set up my businesses for sale. So the systems are really the key that I want to share with you, and the sales system I'm sharing with you tonight is one of the systems, because when you have your sales system in place, you can then turn it over to somebody else, right? So when you have your operations systems in place, you can turn it over to somebody else. When you have your revenue systems in place, you can turn that over to somebody else. I'll get deeper into that in a series of videos that I shot for you guys about a month ago in Los Angeles that we'll send to you after we finish this course. But I just want you to stay with me for now on where do you need to focus on every sales invitation and understand that this is one of the key factors. And when this becomes systemized, when this becomes automated, and you get super clear on it, you can start to scale your business and actually reach more people. So the first thing we want to talk about, the first step in every sales conversation, is the psychology. And the psychology looks like this. Most of the people that you meet on the street did not get up in the morning and say, gosh, I can't wait to go work with Carol, or I can't wait to go work with Karen, or gee, I wish that Garth would sell me coaching for my company. That's not what they're looking for. They got up in the morning, they were dealing with what they were dealing with, and generally there's some kind of problem in their repertoire. There's some kind of challenge they're facing. That's all they're looking at. They're looking at, how am I going to get a solution to my problem? So you guys that have come on this call with me, you've come here because you said, you saw our marketing, you came to us through Facebook, or you're on our email list, and you said, hey, I have a problem around generating revenue. I have a problem with the sales process. It's not feeling fluid. It's not feeling easy. Let me go figure out how to have sales with ease. Sorry, and that was my promise to you. So the first thing to understand is that when you are in sales, which all of us are, you're in service. If you're in service, it's got to be about the other person. It's got to be about finding a solution to their problem. Otherwise, the sale doesn't happen. And what happens in our psychology is that we are worried that somehow we're not going to be enough. They're not going to like us. Somehow it didn't work. What if they judge us? What if they want our solution, but if they do it, then somehow they're not going to like us if it doesn't work. There's all this stuff that happens in psychology. So the first thing to get your head around is, how do I stay in service to the person in front of me? And more important, how do I get out of my own way? How do I stop making it about me? How do I really make it about them and have them know that I'm here just to take care of them? And what holds us back way too often is that we feel like we're not enough. We feel like, oh my gosh, what if they find out that I'm not experienced, or I've only sold 6 of my companies instead of 26, right? What if they find out that I'm not really ready? What if? If we spend our whole life worrying about that, we could never get into action. So remember that action changes your life. You have to be in action to create a shift of energy. Money comes to us and through us in direct proportion to sales. It's simply a shift of energy. So when you're feeling like you're not ready, or you're feeling like you're not enough, I invite you to ask yourself, is that true? Or is that something that somebody said to you? All of us carry something we heard at some point in our lives, and it's usually not effective, and it's usually not true, and it doesn't serve us. So when you're feeling like you're not enough, I want you to reel back and say, hey, this is what I have today, and I'm here to be of service. So the psychology of my client or my prospect is, first and foremost, they want a solution to their problem. The psychology I have as the person to be of service is, it's not about me. It's not about me being ready. It's not about me being enough. It's about how can I serve, right? So stay in that mindset. The number 2 step in the 7 steps of sales with ease is the warm-up. And the warm-up looks like this. When you meet a complete stranger, you guys have probably had this experience. You're out at a networking event. I pick on boys sometimes because guys will be like, hey, you have like a hi, and who are you, and what are you doing? And then immediately they want to go right for the sale and tell you how great they are and have the solution to your problem. And you haven't even had a chance to learn about them, or they don't really know about you. Listen, I work with women, and a lot of my audience is women. So if you're listening to this call and you understand what I'm saying, warm-up is important. We need a little bit of getting to know each other before we can actually get into the presentation. And all too often we get excited when we meet somebody and we think, okay, I'm going to just jump in, and we skip the most important part, which is remembering the psychology, what's going on with the person across from us. They want a solution to their problem. Remembering our psychology, which is we can get out of our own way, and remembering to warm things up, not pushing. There's nothing to be achieved by trying to go for the sale when you haven't done the 3rd step process, which is discovery. Discovery is really important. So let me say that warm-up looks like, hi, how are you? Where are you from? Do you have any kids? Do you come here often? Sorry to make it sound like a bar conversation, but you know what I'm saying. That's just the surface stuff. The better you get at that in a very short period of time, the more effective you have the opportunity to open up that person. So the person across from you, remember, their psychology is, I didn't come here to buy anything. I came here because I want a solution to my problem. Warm-up is 100% coming from your heart. I'm here to hear about you. Hear, H-E-R-E, to hear H-E-A-R, about you. And warm-up leads into number 3, which is discovery. This is when you listen carefully to what's happening to the person on the other end. Now, I want to take a pause here and talk about sales, because sales is, we think about selling our service, we think about selling our products. We don't think about sales as what really is a deeper understanding, which is how it happens for us every day in our lives. So when we are out in the world working with potential team members, when we're working with potential alliance members, people we might want to do a joint venture with, sales is happening all the time. Now, you know, I just was joking a little bit about the bar, but because I'm traveling a lot, I'm meeting a lot of strangers, having these conversations, you just never know who that person across from you is. You just don't know about them. And what I find is that the more we're out in the world, sometimes the most powerful, amazing people I meet are very casual, right? They're right down to earth. They're not made up. They're not glossy. They're just being who they are. So you want to learn to listen carefully and learn to listen for always what can you do to add value to that person. It can be a very simple thing. When I meet someone, when I'm out in the world and I say, what do you need most in your business and how can I support you? I always know that I'm in the presence of a player, if you will, somebody who's actually already successful, because it will stop them when I ask that, what do you need most in your business right now? They're not used to being asked the question. They'll always say, oh, gee, thanks for asking. You know, and it's a pause, right? They're not used to being heard. People are always wanting something from them. So when you become very successful in your own business, in your own life, listen for how few people actually come from service. You don't get the right to discover people's underlying stuff if you haven't met them where they are psychologically and you haven't warmed them up. Now, I promised you I'm spending a lot of time on 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go into number 4, and we're going to actually have a whole training on number 4 in a few weeks. But, you know, there's 7 steps, and the first 4 steps are everything. Let me say that again. The first 4 steps are everything. Steps 5, 6, 7 really take care of themselves if you get good at these first initial steps. So psychology of your person, psychology of yourself, which is get out of your own way, the warm-up, which is just honestly opening your heart and being there authentically to be of service, the discovery of what do you need most right now. So when somebody's been seen and heard, which is not an experience most of us have, but when somebody's been authentically listened to, they're much more likely to open up and talk about what's going on. So your ability to ask deeper questions, your ability to ask the questions that might be a little uncomfortable, like, how does that make you feel? And what's going on? And how can I support you? Sometimes you can't support them, but just the fact that you asked is a support. Number 4 is information confirmation. And this is the key that I believe really moves the needle in shifting relationships from cold to sold, if you will, in a very short period of time. What I mean by that is that I experience frequently people on airplanes and in bathrooms. Ladies' bathrooms are my favorite place to meet people, that within a very short few minutes of a conversation are sharing stuff with me. And I know some of you have the same experience because I know that we have an audience of people who are healers. And when somebody has gone through their life not being seen or not feeling heard, and they have that experience for the first time, things start to open up. They start to have stuff come to the surface. And have you ever had that time when you're talking to somebody that you've just recently met and they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I don't usually share this with anybody. You know what I'm talking about. It's when you're really having your heart open that people can have that place of freedom. So you're providing an amazing service just being there. Number 4 is information confirmation, and this is what I call kind of the glue to the relationship moving forward. It's when you repeat back to the person that you've just met what they said to you. Sounds very simple, but it makes a huge difference. It's that place of, okay, so Carol, if I'm hearing you correctly, you know, you're great at what you do, you know that you help people with your service, and yet somehow you're getting stuck. Did I hear that correctly? And then Carol's going to say, yes, that's exactly what I said. The next question is, well, what does that feeling stuck feel like? What does it look like? And then Carol might explain to me, well, we meet, they're excited, they want to take advantage of my free service, but they're not really like, I don't know how to move them past that. I don't know how to move them into the deeper relationship. So information confirmation looks like when you say to that person, okay, so I hear that that could be frustrating for you. And if I'm hearing you correctly, the challenge starts when you want to move them into a deeper relationship. All you're doing is repeating back to them what they have said to you, okay? A lot happens here. This is where you actually understand where the pain is. This is where you actually start to uncover the problem at a deeper level. It looks like on the surface, a person's struggling because they don't have the money or it's not coming through for them. What's happening underneath is that because the money's not coming in, because they're not being seen and heard, because they're not feeling related, you know, there's the big three around health, wealth, and love. People, as a result of these things, have deeper pains, right? They're missing out on their children growing up. They're missing out on feeling connected with their lovers. They're not having the energy they want to have. They're watching their lives go by them, okay? There's all these things that are happening in the background. You've got to stop and repeat back to them what they said in order to ask for permission, which is step number 5, to talk about your solution to the problem. So do you see all of this stuff? Honestly, we're like 1 through 5. All we're doing is excavating. All we're doing is uncovering the problem. And what I see all too often in the sales process is we've got a product, we've got a service, we want to tell somebody how to fix themselves. Nobody wants to be fixed. Nobody wants to be corrected. If I were to ask you right now, do you want to be fixed? You'd be telling me no. You might chat here and tell me, do you want to be fixed? Answer the question. I'll have somebody answer me. Do you want to be fixed? No. I'm getting the answers back. Okay, I get you don't want to be fixed. Okay, so if you don't want to be fixed, do you think the person standing in front of you wants to be fixed? No, they don't. They don't want to be fixed. They want to be corrected. They want to be seen and heard. So you want to, at this point, Cheryl wants her business fixed. Yes, I understand you do, darling. If you want to actually have the solution to the problem, you have to meet people emotionally. You have to meet them in the heart. So then I would say, Cheryl, you and I had conversations, gosh, I don't know, like 6, 8 months ago. And if I heard you correctly at the time, you had done all this amazing education. Don't worry, Cheryl, they don't know who you are. They've done all this amazing education, all this training, and you're just such a powerful leader. And yet, it's still tough, right? It's still tough to find the energy. There's been things that have come up. There's a challenge. If I could help you move through that and we didn't have to wait another 6 months or a year to do that, would that be something you'd be interested in having a conversation about? And then you pause, right? Because here's a great thing to know. When you're looking to fix your business, when you're looking to fix your money, when you're looking to fix, you know, your relationships, most everything that happens for us in the world is happening as a reflection of what's going on with us inside, right? It's that deeper piece. People feel like if I just had more money, I'd have a solution. If I just had more time, I'd have a solution. Well, the reality is that time is the great equalizer, right? Those of you that have been with me for a while, you know this. We all have the same amount of time. How we choose to spend our time is a totally different story. People who are successful get very clear and focused about what's working, what's not working, and we get rid of the things that are not working, that are not in service. Because if you're a healer, and I know you are if you're on this call, and you're called to serve and help others, every day that you're doing work that's not in alignment with your purpose, your heart hurts, right? Your heart is not in balance. And I hear you, Cheryl. I know that you want to find that peace. And when you actually get busy, right? One of the things I want to remind all of us is that we didn't get into business to have a busyness. I don't know where I heard that, but I just kind of think it's something if you take the word apart and look at it. It's not about being busy. It's about being of service. It's about contributing. So think about the psychology piece, meeting somebody in service. Think about warming them up by opening your heart first and just listening from service. Think about asking those tough questions like, you know, this may be kind of a strange question for me to ask, but how does that make you feel? And what's happening when you're not making the money you want to make? And what's happening when your health is suffering because you know that there's something you're supposed to be doing and it's not happening? And then repeating back to them. So if I heard you correctly, this is what you're saying. And repeat exactly back to them what they shared with you. You know, say, if they've said to you, I really want peace and calm as my ultimate end goal, I want you to repeat that back to them. So if I heard you correctly, you'd like to get your business working, that's where you want the solution. And as a result, you can see how your whole life would be more peaceful and calm. Did I hear that correctly? And then stop and ask. Because you haven't made the commitment, because you haven't been able to find the solution, what's that costing you? You know, what does that look like in your life to still be having the same conversation again and again? And they're going to tell you, and you're going to listen with an open heart. Listening is 99% of the sales process. The more effective you are as a listener, the more you can be received when it's your turn to talk, okay? But you've got to be able to ask these questions. Now, let me put a caveat here. When you get to number 5 and you say, so, if I've heard you correctly, this is costing you. It's costing your health. You like a solution, and you're ready to take action and get this handled. Did I get that correct? Yeah. So if we have a solution for you today, what would keep you from taking action? Now, I'm just going to tell you this right now, guys. I created this specifically because it's July. People will be listening to this for years to come, but this is the time of the year where I hear it from everybody in my audience. It's the summer, the money stopped. I'm like, okay, the money doesn't stop. People want on vacation, they still have money, okay? You're not asking the questions. So what I need you to do is get really clear on this. If you get through these stages and somebody comes back to you, they are not listening to what you're saying when you're repeating it back to them. They're not confirming to you that you're hearing the pain. They're not allowing you to say, like, so if I say, okay, great, find a solution right now. If there's a way that you and I can work together to really find peace and calm in your life, what would keep you from taking action today? Now, on this training, there's nothing for sale. This is literally just a value-added training. There will be plenty of time for you to work with me and to invest in yourself through working with my company as a legacy leader if that is correct for you. But today's call is really about how do I get you to handle this money piece, which is usually related to the sales conversation. So other than money, what's keeping you from getting into action? And I would say if you're a person who I spoke to 6 months ago or a year ago and you're still struggling with the same conversation, how much pain has to exist before you're ready to take action? Okay, so that's number 6. If you know that you have a life of peace and calm waiting for you, what's it going to take to get you off the fence? You know, if you're in front of a person who really you know and they know, you've met them, you guys have your ideal people, you know them. You see them, you feel them. Most of our healers are extremely intuitive, and you know, right? But you start doubting yourself. You're back in psychology, number 1. So if you know that, can you get a little uncomfortable and say, you know, what would it look like for you to get this handled? What would it look like if you actually were living in a place of peace and calm? What would it look like if your health was really thriving? What would it look like if you could be living your dreams and being where you want to be, wherever that is, and getting out of struggle? You know, what would that look like? And what is it worth to you? The flip side is, what does it look like if you don't get it handled? If you keep staying in this, what's it going to look like? You know, I want you guys to think about this. There's a whole lot of people out there in the marketplace, and they have a lot to offer, and there's a lot of competition, if you will. I think at this point, with 7.5 billion people, there's no one like you. The more you can get clear on who you are and how you serve them, you'll stand out in today's economy. I know today, as I'm recording this for you, that I'm here to serve leaders who have a passion to make a difference in the world. They actually have a business as a vehicle for their legacy. Where they get stuck in overwhelm, they get stuck financially, they get stuck in the moving pieces. And when I can work with them to help them get crystal clear and get on track with their purpose, all of a sudden, not only are they clear and focused and money starts flowing, but they then can stand out in service and they can live their purpose and they become very magnetic to their ideal clients because they care. And when you're out of your brain and into your heart, the caring starts to shine, right? It's a whole lot easier to be there when you're not struggling financially. So I want you to really think about this. try on these steps. I mean, those of you, there's some people on this call have been with me for years. My first year-long coaching program was 2012, and some of you go with me 12, 13, 14, we're in 15 together, and I love you, and I thank you for being with me still. And you know what I'm saying? The reason we keep doing this particular process is that there's always new levels, right? One of my first coaches, Fabienne Fredrickson, said, new level, new devil. So there's new levels of service. There's new levels of opening our heart and being vulnerable. And I promise you that the larger your audience becomes, the bigger your service becomes in the world, not only will your revenue grow, but your vulnerability will grow. Your willingness to show up when others don't is going to help you stand out in the marketplace, and you will become a magnetic that you're here to serve. So let's go through the steps. I haven't skipped number 7. I'm still coming back to it, but just stay with me. Psychology. Where are they? They didn't get up looking to buy something. They got up looking for a solution to their problems, period. Where are you? You think you're not good enough, you're not ready, it's not time. Go. The only way that any business happens is in service. So when you keep your psychology 100% in service, everything is possible. Can I say that to you again? When you keep your psychology, when you keep your business 100% in service, everything is possible. I promise you. The life that you live, the life of your dreams is waiting for you, and it's right here in the service piece, right? But it's not about you, because if you've been called to serve, you can't help yourself. You're doing it anyway, so start getting paid for it, all right? Step number 2 in your process is to warm up. This is where, it's kind of, there's a couple of quotables, if you will, that I get quoted on. When I talk about marketing being foreplay and sales being the deed, all too often people are ready to go for the sale and they forget the warm-up. It's important. I don't know if the statistic is true, but I've heard it again and again that 85% of buying decisions are made by women. If that's the case, I can promise you we need warm-up. We need foreplay. We need a little slower discovery process. We need to be heard. We need to be seen. It's not that guys don't have emotions. They're just wired to work a little more direct. If you're working with women, and chances are you are, if 85% of the buying decisions are made by women, learn to be good at warm-up. Learn to be good at discovery. And don't forget that these are just the first pieces. Your psychology is in, your warm-up is good, your discovery, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. It's not about are they going to like you. It's about you need to know what's going on. Where is the pain? Ask the questions that uncover the pain, and then ask them, did I hear you correctly? Did you share with me that as a result of not getting this handle year after year, you feel like your health is suffering? Is that correct? Did I hear you say that your one child is out of the nest and you have a teenager at home and you're afraid that if you keep doing what you're doing and working all the time and not being present, you're not going to get to know this person? Did I hear that correctly? Did I hear that you're not happy in your relationship? You really know that person you fell in love with, you're not motivated. All the money lies in emotion. I work with AAA, super duper overachievers in the world. You know, being a leader of leaders is not for the faint of heart. And I can tell you that we are a fast-moving crowd. We want solutions. We want results. That's who we are. And we have to slow down because all the service and all the money lies in emotion. I mean, people buy from people. And underneath it all, wherever you are in the world, you are dealing with a person who has hopes and dreams. The better you get at uncovering that pain and really asking for permission and going to number 5, which is, if I had a solution for you, what would it take to get you in action now? Like, what would hold you back from making this happen for yourself right here, right now? And be quiet. Remember that? Be quiet. Listen. Number 6 is, what's in it for them in exchange for the investment? If they're going to come to work with you, there's 2 levels to this. What's the results that they're going to have? More importantly, what's in it for them if they don't make the investment? If they don't actually get this handled, if they're actually going to watch their second child grow up and go away and not know them, if they're going to watch their marriage fall apart, if they're going to watch themselves to continue to gain weight and feel lethargic, what's that going to feel like? these are tough questions, but if you are really good at the warm-up and discovery and you are coming from your heart, it is something that has to be handled and has to be handled now. And you're in partnership. You know, one of the most important things I can tell you that's been a secret sauce, if you will, to success is that I am absolutely so selective about who I take as clients. You know, there's a lot of people, there's literally tens of thousands of people at this point that we serve for free. And we love them all, and we're doing like we're doing for you right now with this webinar. But there's a handful of people that we get into an intimate relationship with. And when you are having a sales conversation, I want you to be thinking about this. You don't know what that client in front of you, number one, you don't really know what their deeper things are until you start asking these questions. This could be your first date. This client could be worth, you know, tons of money in your lifetime. More importantly, they could become your favorite success story, and they could be bringing you oodles of other clients, right? One of my very first clients who came to me back in 2011, I did a webinar, kind of like this. I was actually a guest on somebody else's webinar. And she came to me. She has brought me 3 clients. 2 of them have become lifetime. Lifetime with me means they've invested in our high-level consulting year-long programs for more than 3 years. At 3 years, we invite people to stop paying us because we feel like at this point we've built a relationship. It's pretty much a lifetime relationship, and we ask them to take their investment, their consulting fees, and donate them to charity. So you never know that that person in front of you is a one-time sale, a long-time sale, a deep relationship, but choose very wisely, right? And you've got to get them in action now because, as some of you know, because you've been on this call with me, this is not your first training, it's not your first rodeo, you're still suffering. You're still in that same place. You're still where you were when you and I spoke 6 months ago or a year ago. And, you know, I'm sorry about that, and I would love to support you, but it requires you taking action, right? So what I'm going to do is tell you today how you can take action. Again, there's nothing to purchase on this training, but our relationship is very sacred to me, and I really want it to be sacred for you. I want it to be a relationship that makes a difference in your life, that helps you to help others. And you want to get it handled now because remember that when you're not making money, you're not your highest and best. You're not creative. You don't have the freedom to get on and just share all that you know that's coming through you. And when your bottom line suffers, when your dollars are not being handled, you're starting to drop balls. You're living in a place where you're putting out fires all the time, and you know how that feels. It feels exhausting, and you're constantly like putting out a fire, putting out a fire, putting out a fire, not in a place of creation. So the zen and the peace and the calm comes from a place when money is coming to you in a consistent, sustainable way. So when we talk about the path to freedom is where you are not only having your own emotional freedom, your own time freedom, but more importantly, that's one piece of the puzzle. It's not just, okay, I'm sitting on the beach and I can't eat, right? It's that you have a holistic approach to life. Your money is coming in consistently and sustainably. Your relationships are integrated and giving and taking is very balanced. Your health relationship feels good. Your relationship with people around you feels good. Your purpose in the world is showing up again and again, and you're not even having to look for it because you're so magnetic to the people that you're here to work with. You know, it's a great thing when you can walk into a grocery store and meet your ideal client. All right, thank you so much, Gigi. I appreciate the compliment. It is one of those things where when you are congruent, you are magnetic. So I really want you to have sales become an easy piece in your formula for your life and your business because, again, it's all that place of freedom. It's all that place of congruency. When you're just on target, things work for you with ease and grace. It's not a magic formula. You're going to have to do the work, but I promise you, take a little time, dig into this formula, take the report that we sent you. If you didn't get it for any reason, please email us, write to support@lauragisborne.com, and we'll send the report to you. You should have got it with your thank you note, but if you didn't get it for any reason, please let us know. And I want you to have these 7 steps. I want you to have them, print them out, look at them, and when you get on the phone call with prospect, go through the steps, like say, hey, did I do enough warm-up here? Did I information confirmation? Did I ask them the questions? Did I ask them what's the cost if they don't do this now? Like, what's available? You go through this and play with it a little bit because you'll get better and better at it. Like anything, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You see what I'm saying? It's just, again, it's not rocket science, and it does practice. So if I could be of service in how it works in your own business, right now I'm in Scotland, and I'm back to Ireland again in a couple of days. So bear with me on timing, but we've set up a way for you to have a telephone conversation with me. And the way for you to do that is to visit path2freedomcall.com. If you're online, you can see that URL. It's pathfreedomcall.com, path2freedomcall.com. And we'll send out a reminder for you with an email as well, online, or you're someplace we can write it down. And it's go there and answer a few questions for me about what's going on in your life business. How can I support you? Is there a place that you're struggling? Because sometimes, again, in a short phone call, I can get on and talk with you and help you uncover these things. The more I can help you get it to your service, the more I know that you can help the people here to help. And there's lots of ways you can play with us. We have a Path live event coming up in October. It's a small event. We don't have big mega events. We don't sell tickets to this in the initial stages that you guys are coming in. We haven't marketed it yet on the website yet, but I can tell you that it's October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. It'll be in Monterey, California. And, if you're one of our first people that come and register, all we ask you to do is just pay for your own lunches. It's part of being is pay for your meals and materials. That way the hotel gives us a nice, great venue to use. We don't make money off ticket sales. We would like to invite you to make a donation to charity because we're really in this place of helping you get your money handled so that you can help a whole lot of people that don't have access. So all of those things are optional for you, but that event's coming up. In the meantime, if I can help you with a short phone call on where are you stuck, what's the piece that I might be able to help you with? Sometimes you'll be amazed at how quickly we can shift things, and then you can get into action and go to the world and make it happen. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up. If you have any questions, please write them in chat. I've seen a lot of comments and compliments. If you've got any questions, now's the time to share them with me. Excuse me. Hi, Jeannie. What I want you to do is to just know that what's available for you is a place of how this is a place for you to really have health, wealth, and love for yourself and the time to enjoy them. And I'm not trying to jump off, so I do want to just answer a couple of quick questions. People are writing them in now. So I just got Beth's question. You're not understanding number 7, why now? So that's a great question, Beth. Thank you so much for asking. Why now is simply this. Your prospective client, the person that you're here to serve, is never going to be more aware of the pain of what it's costing them than when you're in the conversation and you're being 100% present for them. So they get back to their lives, and I think you might have seen this too, like sometimes you'll meet somebody and you think, oh gosh, that would be so great, I'd love to work with that person, your service, but you get back into your life and life gets busy and you get distracted, you get kind of back to that place where there's too many things to juggle, and taking care of the problem becomes a back burner. So when we actually are presented with an opportunity, I think one of the greatest things that I see with successful people is their ability to make quick decisions. On this call, your only decision is to decide whether or not you can have a phone call with me, which is to go to path2freedomcall.com, which is a free application to apply for a strategy session. If you decide that that's something you want to do, we're trying to make it super easy peasy for you. You go there, you fill out an application, you hit send, and it comes to my computer, and boom, off we go. Why now is this? You really have to strike while the iron's hot. I'm not sure what the psychology of that is, other than a lot of times we have a hard time as humans understanding what's causing the problem. And if you're here as a healer, Beth, and you have a solution to their problem, they may not even know that there is a solution to the problem, but if they put it on the back burner, the problem actually just starts escalating. It just starts growing in spite of, their best efforts to ignore it. So you want to help people get it handled before it escalates, before it gets out of control, and now is the time. Right now is the time, because as soon as they get it handled, they can be free to do other things. In the same way that I say to you, if I can help you get sales as part of your process as something that's easy and graceful, and now money is one less thing to worry about. Do you see how that makes a difference? Do you see how it makes it shift for you? If money's consistently there and it's easy, it's the place where people always say to me, gosh, Laura, if I just had more money, then I can make a difference in the world. You're here to make your difference in the world. It's not about the money. But we use money as an excuse. So I train on getting finances handled, getting the sales process easy, because sales is a direct driver for revenue if you're an entrepreneur. So I hope that makes sense. A couple of you are writing to me that it does. But I want, it's a thing to be reminded of. It's like, now is the time. You've spent your time and energy there. Now is the time. If you have a solution for the problem of the person in front of you, get into action and get it handled now. Don't let it be one of those things that festers and grows. Let me know if you're still on, Beth, if that helps you, or if you have a further question on it. All right, so does anybody else? Thank you, Manjot. Always awesome to be with you. How do you download the 7 steps? The 7 steps should have been sent to you in your thank yous. So go back and look at the thank you email that you received from us that said thank you. Scroll down to the bottom, you can see a PDF there for the 7 steps. And if you don't have it for any reason, do me a favor, sweetie, and send an email to support, S-U-P-P-O-R-T, support at lauragisborne.com. There's an E on the end of my name, lauragisborne.com, and we'll be sure to send the PDF out to you. It should have been in there for you in your email, but if you didn't get it for any reason, please send me an email, and we'll make sure that it's, I don't know what time it is, 9 o'clock at night here in Scotland. Probably not going to happen tonight, but if you send it, I'll make sure to get right back to you. So it might not report so you can follow along, okay? And Beth, I'm so glad I clarified and you got it. So great. It's so nice to meet you. Thanks for being here tonight. All right, my loves. So there's still quite a few of you on the call. Is there anything else that I can help you with while you've got me? Any other questions about business or the sales process, or any place that you feel like you get stuck? I've offered to do the free strategy sessions with you because it's the best way I know is just to get on a one-on-one call with you. It doesn't take, thanks Gigi, it doesn't take very long for you and I to move through once we get clear on what's stopping you. So if you want to do that call, it's the Path to Freedom. Let's see if I can get my computer to go backwards so I can move that. There it is. Path2freedomcall.com. Just go to that website. It's set up for you to fill out a quick strategy session survey. You and I will get on a telephone call. My team will set it up with you. It might be a week or 2 before I can get back to phone calls because I'm traveling right now with my husband. But yeah, let's get on a call. Let's get it handled. And just let me know how I can help you. Sometimes just, again, the shortest shift can make the difference. And then, and watch, if you're still here with me, watch your emails because I'm going to do another call on this. And it's a little deeper training. It's about how to build highly profitable relationships in minutes. It's going to be about 3.5, 4 weeks before that one comes out. You'll see some Facebook ads for it and some emails around it. But, I just want to take you through the process of that deeper relationship building and exactly what to say. On that training, I'm going to go into the scripts of, what does the language look like? We'll do a little role playing with some of our existing clients who are here with us. If they're, we'll get some guinea pigs, some people that are with us for a while, to go through the role playing with you so you can kind of see what it looks like. But there's something about knowing what to say when that's important. And then the next training in the series after that is I'll be doing a training on where to focus now in your business, because I think that focus is just one of those key elements. There's so many moving pieces. Give you the steps on how to move forward and be highly profitable. So I hope this has been helpful for you. It's been a pleasure being with you. Again, until I hear the recording, I won't know how the software worked out with us on the other side of the country, or the world, excuse me. I'm on the other side of the planet tonight. So hopefully it was helpful. If there's any questions that you have that you didn't get answered here, feel free to send me an email. My email is Laura, L-A-U-R-A, at lauragisborne.com, and I'll see you there, and I'll see you on Facebook. And for those of you that have already applied for our strategy session, I look forward to speaking with you in the next few weeks. All right, take care, my loves.